I've done a video. I know I've done a video about this a long while ago. Actually, I have multiple videos on this, and it's how to do the Steel Path chart. But I feel like I should just combine it into one big video, where I explain every single game mode and how they work. We'll start with the one that gives people the most trouble, Interception. Interception is a crowd control based game mode. The more enemies die, the more enemies will spawn and attack towers. You do not want this. So, if we go to an interception, here we'll just do Umbral for example. Okay? You want to take frames that specialize in crowd control. So you want to take things like Nova, a Frost, a Vauban, or a Limbo. If you slow the enemies down, enemies will still spawn in, and they will still attack towers, but they'll be slowed down, so they're less likely to hack them. If you go with Freezing Root, preferably a Limbo, Frost is an alright alternative, then you will end up with spawn clogging, which means no new enemies will come and attack towers unless you specifically kill the enemies, because you will have to refresh the spawn flow. So, what I personally prefer is Limbo for interception, because this prevents new enemies from spawning, which then prevents the spawn flow. So, if you're doing an interception, take crowd control based frames, because then the enemies are attacking the towers less. Because, like I always tell people whenever they're struggling with an interception, the more you kill, the more enemies spawn, the more enemies spawn, the more they attack towers, and you don't want that. You don't want enemies to keep attacking your towers, because that gives you more work, which then means you're running back and forth constantly capturing towers. Like, you see, I killed enemies, and now look, there's new enemies on the map. They're now unrifted, and now that they're unrifted, they're gonna come and spawn and attack this. Look at that, new enemy walked in. It's now going to come and interact with the panel. You know, the usual. All killing does in this game mode is give you more work. That's all it does. So if you're fine with that, go for it. Kill in this game mode. Give yourself more work. But if you're not interested in making a game mode 10 times as difficult as it needs to be, what I suggest is this, crowd control. Just stop the enemies from getting to the points. It's a defense game mode, but you're not meant to kill. Because unlike in a defense where you need to defend the point, but also at the same time of defending the point, your job is to also kill enemies so the waves go by faster. So you're defending, you're crowd controlling, and you're also killing. Interception is not advised to kill, period. Because the only time that killing matters in an interception is at the end of the wave, when you actually have to clear the board to extract or get to the next wave. That is the only time it matters. Outside that, you do not want to kill, because yeah, you see, an enemy died, now there's another tower being attacked. Now you're probably like, Julian, what if it's an Eximus? Well, you see, Eximus can be rifted. They just cannot be frozen until their overguard is removed. Easy solution to that? Use your weapons, remove the overguard. Or use damaging abilities. Why am I running Banshee Silence on Limbo? That is because enemy abilities can bypass the rift, not enemy weapons. So if you run Banshee Silence, their abilities cannot pierce through the rift, making them entirely useless, unable to fight back. This applies to Acolytes too. Now, again, if you do not like Limbo, what I suggest is using Frost and getting the Chilling Snow Globe augment and putting Resonator on it. This will AI shutdown, and this will have enemies leave you alone. And you can capture all the towers. Place a bubble in each tower. You can also play Wisp and place most at each tower, but Frost is honestly better because you can spam your fort and also bubble everything. So he's the more friendly frame to play for this. You also have Nova, of course, with her with her 4 to slow everything down. That is another good option. But again, I highly recommend getting a Limbo. It makes your life so much easier. Like, yeah, this Eximus is attacking me, but once I remove its Overguard, it doesn't matter. I will show you my Arc Gun build and my Limbo build, don't worry. But I'm mostly just going to be, like, showing you how to do each game mode. Just so that way people are like, okay, this is how I do the game modes. Because I know Interception and that can get annoying. Exterminate not so much because it's just killing. Everyone knows how to kill. In Warframe, it's just the simple thing. It's something you learn very early on as a Tenno. It's like the first thing you know how to do is kill an enemy. I mean, you wouldn't have Steel Path if it wasn't for the fact you know how to kill, so I'm not really going to like go too much in depth about Exterminate. What I do suggest for Exterminate is nuke-based enemies, Saren, Neza, anything that has wide AoE.
Extraction is available, but there are
and it's really good at Ad Clear. Will be great for Exterminate. Preferably no line of sight check AoE, like Sobek Saren, Divine Spears Neza, Savagoth, Uriel, like anything like that would be great for Exterminate. Yeah, see? Done in 5 minutes in Interception. So, yeah. For this game mode specifically, you want to avoid killing until like the end. If you're curious about my Limbo build, I can show that quickly. Here you go. As for how it works, Rift Surge spreads to enemies that are rifted. So what you do is you hit your 4, you hit your 3, they're now Rift Prime. Enemies that either are killed by, well, under the Rift effect or leave the Rift, spread the Rift effect. So what I usually do is I force enemies to exit the Rift by deactivating my 4. And I just 4 free repeat, and it spreads the Rift throughout the entire map. And then Silence is just to prevent enemies from hitting for the Rift. There you go. Reason why I'm not running Arcane Circumvent, so I get Overguard whenever I dodge roll, is because I play with friends of mine that can't dodge roll because they have fucked up. One of my friends has a fucked up controller where he doesn't have a roll at all. So I have to build my Limbo in a way where I can get a mission done without having to roll, because that will get annoying with him. I'll dodge roll, I'll create the Rift Bubble, and then he'll walk into it and he'll get fucking annoyed. So, to be fair for him, so I'm not annoying with him, I modded my Limbo in such a way that I can get away with not rifting him, but also be able to do my job. As for my Miter, here's Miter. Reason why I use Miter is because of Nullifiers. Nullifiers can also be rifted if their bubble is destroyed by either you just normally shooting it, your drone lowering it with their beam, whatever. They can be rifted. A Nullifier can also be rifted if you have enough casting speed. You can rift a Nullifier before it can even cast its bubble. So there's that. So yeah, Nullifiers also aren't really as much of a threat to Limbo as they used to be, because Nullifiers have to touch each individual rifted target separately to free them, and also Nullifiers don't insta-pop the bubble anymore, which really didn't matter for Rift Surge Limbos anyway, because you want your bubble to be popped, so you spread your rift, but yeah. So, the Rift Surge is, how bubbles work now is Nullifiers are immune to the rift while the bubble's up, and anything that's inside the Nullifier bubble is too. But if you remove the Nullifier bubble by reusing Miter, slowly popping it down with your regular weapons, shooting the Nullifier in the back so the drone dies instantly, or shoot the drone while it's above its head, it's not really an issue. And then Angstrom's just there for a filter virus, just there for Overguard for yourself, and also so Xmas don't have it. There you go. That's what you need to know. A little tip I can give you about Limbo: his augment for his Rift Torrent is universal base damage. So it is really good with abilities coded as weapons like Null Stars, Temple, Subsume, stuff like that. Abilities bypass the Rift, Melee Influence bypass the Rift, Icar Death Clouds bypass the Rift, and Okina bypass the Rift, and the Zymo Spores bypass the Rift. His universal base damage is also multiplicative with projectile melee, so glaives are great with him, especially glaives of influence, because if an influence triggers and it hits outside the rift, you can smuggle Rift Torrent's damage out of the rift. There we go. Interception explained. Now we can move on to something less, like, still annoying, but not as bad. Okay. Let's get on to a game mode that I see a lot of people hate. It's called Pursuit on Saturn. The best thing to use for Pursuit on Saturn is the Morga. Now you're like, Ewan, why the Morga? Because it multi-hits the weak points. Like I said, I'm not going to be running an Exterminate because it's an Exterminate. I'll be running the game modes that give people trouble. But I will be giving suggestions for game modes that aren't, of course. Capture, you want speed, so just bring a hard-hitting weapon and speed. Defense, bring something that's good at horde clear and also good at keeping the defense alive, so bring in some crowd control, maybe some support. But yeah, Morga is just there because it does a lot of damage and it makes the mission very easy. Like, look at that. Just aim there and done. That's all you gotta do.
Concentrate fire on its engines. Take out its shields by destroying the generators.
And its alt fire also destroys all its engine
engines
weak
are down.
points.
It's a sitting duck. Watch out for drones.
You see?
You took out the turret.
Its alt fire will hit all the engines, and then now that you've destroyed its weak points, what you can do
Shields down. Systems exposed.
is you can just protect it with Amisha's 2, which converts all damage to healing. And while you're at it, you can just sit immortal because Amisha's 4 and 1, and just complete the mission.
Keep defending. My recovery team's almost there.
There you go. Now this is coming from someone who, to time kill waiting for the 1999 update, I decided to 100% people's charts and recruit chat. So I have loadouts dedicated to do literally every single node in the game. If you're struggling with Arcwing Interception, take the Misha. Reason why I say take the Misha, the third ability slows down enemies, so the enemies won't be capturing towers. The 1 is basically Mesmer Skin, and it can be given to allies and defense objectives you cast on it. The 2 is basically makes Bubble and Wall Life combined together. So you can just cast this on a mobile defense. It's like the last mobile defense in the mission. Just cast this on mobile defense, and then sit at extraction. Once the timer runs out, you'll automatically extract without having to do much work. And then this gives you Gray Bar and increases range, duration, strength to all of our abilities. So that's why Misha is just great. If you want a good, like, regular use arc weapon, I highly recommend the Larkspur. It's quite literally the Kuvanukor or the Torrent of the Air. You shoot in a direction, and anything stupid enough to get hit by the beam gets chained. And say 2 minutes. Done in 2 minutes, Pursuit. It's not that bad of a mission. Yeah, it's annoying, but once you know how to cheese it, it's not really that bad. Now let's get to another thing that gives people trouble. How long have I been in this video? Only 13 minutes, not that bad. I squeezed a lot in a quick time. Let's get to the next thing that people fucking hate. That is Lua Spy. What I suggest for Lua Spy is to subsume Master Summons. Because you can just Master Summon the Moa and hack the fucking panel for the glass. You don't have to do the whole vault.
They say, operator, your chosen warfare
You can take literally any frame and do this. I personally prefer taking in Limbo. The reason why I personally prefer taking in Limbo is because if you trigger alarms, you get less rewards, and you can get Blood Rush from doing Lua Spy. So, yeah. What I suggest for what I suggest doing is using his Rift passive because it's immune to the Orokin security. So you can get in and out without the game even realizing you're there. He's also great for Lua Rescue because he can banish the hostage. The hostage takes no damage and you're just on your way to extract. While also being completely immune to security.
Move and strike. We have to win this.
Arcane Agility and Parkour Velocity in general is great for spy missions and also just getting in and out of missions entirely. Because you move so fucking fast with it. Like, look at me. I got shot once and immediately triggered Arcane Agility, which allows me to move further. So see? Now that I summon the MOA, it's gonna go do that, and I don't even have to be here. See? Done. Vault's already complete. I don't even have to do shit. What would also be good for this would be Kratos, but if you feel like it. And on top of that, you can also bring Truth's Flame, because every time you hack a panel, you gain Infinity, which then would trigger Truth's Flame from the Foley mission, which that gives you even more parkour velocity, so you can just like zoom around the map like I am. Now for Spy in general, my suggestions are either Kong or Ivara. Now why Ivara, you may ask? Because her Augment Infiltrate allows you to go for literally every single security in the game except for Lua. And you only need to be invisible when walking through lasers. So any other time, Ivara can just like zoom through, and her tripwire bypasses her movement reduction, and so does parkour velocity. So Ivara that knows the vaults well can get the vaults done in quite literally 3 minutes, have every single vault hacked, and be at extraction in that time, without Arcane Agility or goddamn Kratos. Or Truth's Flame. So, it's not that bad. Kuva Fort, I also highly recommend using the auto hack mode because you can hack the vault for the glass.
Come on.
But for normal spy, I highly suggest using the auto hack subsume, because the auto hack subsume will auto hack a vault, regardless if it's a nightmare vault where you don't have ciphers, a sortie, whatever. It will auto hack the vault. Just make sure you activate it before you get to the panel, like long before you get to the panel, because there's a bug with it. But if you activate it like right as you're interacting with the panel, it won't auto hack, period. Auto Breach, the Parazon mod, is also really good because it has a chance to auto hack. Untraceable is really good because it makes you go invisible after hacking. And Runtime is a really good Parazon mod too because it allows you to get faster movement speed after hacking. Which I'll show those Parazon mods and also my Limbo build at Extraction just again quickly.
Stay focused. There's a heavy unit.
And so we learn the importance
You're still
of
in the clear.
clarity.
No
See, done in 3 minutes. And that's all my spies. They're done in 3 minutes without Kratos. Every single one in the game. Like, our rule when it comes to Warframe is we have the gear to make anything easy. Warframe is not a hard game. If the game is giving you trouble, it is because you didn't strategize around a game's mechanic. The game's very easy once you get the gear and everything for it. Here we go. Like, it's a written rule in Warframe, and the written rule in Warframe is only as hard as you make it. Is just the written rule. It's only as difficult as you make it. If you're having trouble with it, it's because you yourself gave yourself trouble. Now, let's get on to Lephantis. A boss that gives people trouble in the Steel Path too, surprisingly. I'm probably not gonna have a voice after this. 'Cause I've been talking a lot all day before doing this video. And then me doing this video is probably gonna make me lose my voice. For fuck's sake. What I suggest for Lephantis would be a on-call with a high DPS weapon, preferably a Kuvazar, which is my regular use on-call weapon anyway, because it's great for hordes. I'll show my Kuvazar after this mission. But what I also suggest is bringing great, like, high fire rate pellet weapons, like the Burst and Incarnon, or the Velox. And I highly, highly recommend taking a Rhino. Reason why I recommend taking a Rhino is because if Lephantis opens its face,
out by the death of Infested.
You can
They
freeze
will
it in
should
place.
Go away or amp up the fight to draw it out. Deep within this millennia-old Orokin-turned-infested ship lurks a creature created to fight in the old war.
Like you can
Make
freeze
your way to its
Lephantis
location and
in
dispatch
place
this monster.
when it opens its face, which is great because it allows you to get more hits in.
Prepare for incoming support.
Like that. See?
The Juggernaut has moved on. It's safe to proceed.
Like you can see here, it's just going to be frozen in time like that.
Stay focused. There's
Oh
a
yeah,
heavy unit
I didn't even have to attack it. But if you want weapons that are good for killing that face, again, high DPS, high pellet per second weapons like Velux or Burston are great for that face. Watch this. Come on, open your face, buddy. Like that. And then you don't even need to use the elevator. Don't waste your time with the elevator. Just operator right up and head to extract.
They won't be bothering us anymore. Let's get out of here.
What
Multiple
you have
targets
learned
ahead.
here will
There you go.
serve you
Done
well.
in 2
Let's go.
minutes. Like, the boss is just done and over with. Alrighty. The next boss to cover that gives people trouble. Zealoid. Dreaded Zealoid. So many people hate Zealoid. Now, I have a history of Zealoid. If you're a long viewer of my channel, here's my regular use Rhino. It's capable for Archimedes and everything. If you're a long viewer of my channel, you may know about my history of Zealoid. But if you do not, this is one of my favorite bosses in the game, and I've reran this boss a concerning amount of times. A very, very concerning amount of times. I have multiple videos on this fucking boss. I've done this boss so much times that it's kind of concerning. Here's my on-call Czar, if you're curious. As for the Riven, it's just heat and multi-shot. So nothing too fancy.
I've run diagnostic
So let's get
regressions.
Zealoid out of
All
the way,
systems
and then
are
we'll go to another
Readable
boss that
to
gives people trouble, known as Jordis.
As ready
I'm
as
trying to
you
squeeze
will
as
ever
much in this
be.
one video as possible. Mostly focusing on things that will give people trouble throughout, like, the chart. Alright, the next one I could talk about while we're doing this is Disruption, because it's Disruption, but it's not like something warrant me to actually, like, equip a full loadout for. So for Disruption, I highly suggest bringing either high DPS weapons, high pellet weapons, or single instance hard-hitting attacks, like Kullervo in a heavy attack build. Ranged weapons are recommended because if you're too close to a Demolisher, it will disable your abilities. Magus Lockdown, the Arcane, which you can get from Lil Duck, is really good because it locks down a lot of bosses, including demos, and gives you the time to execute a demo before it can blow up. Helios is great for demos because it can armor strip with its throw if you equip a Shattering Impact, and also can armor strip a Visual Spawn. There you go.
Bastions protect the congregation. They must not steal our light.
It's like, Zealoid, you just want hard-hitting weapons. That's all you want. I will tell you that Zealoid is vulnerable to slash and heat because he's infested, so you can mod for that. Yes, and Bane mods will still apply to Zealoid, but it's better to just bring something that hits really fucking hard to kill Zealoid. Like, extremely difficult. Like, high damaging weapon, almost extremely difficult.
They must not steal our light.
But yeah, that's all for this. While we're doing this, I might as well talk about another boss. That would be the tank boss, because I know a lot of people don't like doing the tank. What I highly recommend for the tank is bringing an armor strip like Showering Impact or Latcher Incarnate, because if you full strip the tank and then you hit it with an RPG, it will instant kill the health bar. Though you can also one-tap the health bar with a hard-hitting melee weapon and Flare Bow. You can also just kill it with Sampodes and a Slam. Do not mod for combo on Sampodes because the shockwaves do not benefit, but mod it for like heavy slam and all that. I'll show you a Sampodes build after this. And another tip I can give you is use like precision like weapons like the Latum or something to destroy the bolts on the tank. So that way you can just easily take it out. And something like Sampodes or Lex Incarnate, something that can multi-hit and punch through the tank is really good for the infested stage to hit all the moss on the tank.
We shall wash.
You can also grab RPGs very quickly by shooting them, the paratroopers, out of the sky, and they will die and take fall damage, and they'll drop their RPG.
Be generous.
The next boss I want to cover is the Ropolist, which a lot of people hate. I have a loadout for him too, because people do not like the Ropolist.
Paradise comes for you. His light is not.
How long is this video? Can I squeeze Ropolist in? Yeah, I can squeeze the Ropolist in. The reason why I'm checking how long I have in the video is because PSN can only record up to 60 minutes. So I have to squeeze as much as I can into a 60-minute video. If not shorter than that.
They must not steal our light.
I want to squeeze mostly the important stuff in here, like stuff that'll really give people trouble, than like stuff that they can do fine on their own anyway. Cause that's my main focus. I want to get shit, like this video out and covering shit that I know people will fucking hate to do, like Zealoid interceptions, all that. But while I give you the build on the Sampodes and we move on our way to Ropolist, I'll explain how hijacks work, because hijacks are an issue people struggle with too. The only thing you have to do in a hijack is move the ram. You can kill enemies to defend it, but that doesn't really matter. What I suggest for hijack is high shield based frames like Hilladron or Protea, though some hijacks will nullify you, so it's better to bring something that has a high shield pool without using abilities. Or if you feel like being funny, you can take an Arsonitis, because due to their lack of shields, it will drain from their health instead. No, I'm not joking. It will drain from their health instead. Which is quite funny.
kick.
Bottom.
Alright, here's my Sampodes build. This will kill the tank. If you're doing the fragmented, take Biss. Biss not only will kill the fragmented very quickly, even more so if you use Madarite Tower on strike or Zenuric to beam it. Both kill the fragmented very, very quickly. Sorry about that, my throat's hurting from... I don't know what's going on. But this will also end up with damage. You will end up damage capping the fragmented on the stat screen on extract. Honestly, this would too, but hey, hitting it with Bane mod is nice because it's a damage increase. There's no point not to. Alright, and then here's the build I use for... The Ropeless is weak to radiation, so... and cold because it's an Eidolon. It's a sentient, so that's what you want to do. The front messaged me something random. But here you go. You obviously don't need a build as min-max as I do. This is just like what I do to get the boss done very quickly. And then here's my build for Ropeless himself. Now, if you're curious what kind of amp I use, I personally use the 717. I'm trying to remember the number of it because I have so many fucking amps, man. There's so many different combos. Yeah, it's 717. Which would be this amp. This is the amp you want to use if you're going to take out the Ropeless. And this is the one you want to use if you want to take out an angel. This kind of build. Same one, but different purpose. My regular use amp for just reviving me is called the Inferno. Here's the build for it, if you're curious. It's just a regular amp. But yeah, we'll get that done. We'll go do the Ropeless quickly, and then after that, I'm going to then do... What's another game over against people troll? Well, a tip I can give you for Hive missions is take a Dante if you have it, because you can spam his Vertability, and his Vertability will destroy the pods for the walls. So that way, all you have to do is go up to the actual Hive itself, and just destroy the main Hive. Because Dante's Vertability can hit the pods for walls, which makes him one of the better frames to take into Descendia. Because you can destroy boxes, orbs, and whatever else. Also, if Lotus starts talking, just fucking spam Nightwave. This applies to every single bounty in the game. It shuts the NPC up.
Was a farmer, my mother, a carpenter, given light by the Golden Lords to build for them a better world.
Shut up, Lotus.
So the Golden Wrath came.
Oh my fuck, you're
and
getting
after,
annoying.
I was...
Shut the fuck up. Fuck me, man. There's another game mode that gives people trouble, but I can name.
Truth. We were both,
Oh my fucking Lanta.
but now
Shut the fuck up, Lotus. Now, the reason why I bring Wukong is because the Ropeless will disable your operator dash. So you can't really dash across, or avoid sling as what it's called now, across the tripwires. It's best to get the Ropeless to zap all 3 lanterns at the start, so that way you don't need to trick it to zap it at each individual separate stage.
As you can see, Betrayer.
So if you cloud up like this,
But when it comes to this turgid monster, there is some
See?
liquidity in my
You get the
way.
Zap the Lantern, then you head over and get to destroy the next lantern.
There's enough juice in that capacitor to flash fry a city, but no way to bring it to the beast. I wonder.
And then you
Should
just
bring the
bring
beast
it to the bird land.
to it?
Now, realistically, what you want to do is, like, in the first fucking scene when you're, like, standing at the main platform, you want to destroy its shield. Don't do the dumb fuck thing I did and come over here and piss it off. That is not a smart move. I'll tell you that now. You should obviously destroy the shields first before you lure it to lanterns. That would be ideal.
Void within you.
But I didn't
Our
think to do
ancients
that
still
because
wither at its touch.
I'm a dumb fuck. Despite how many times I've ran this boss, I
Aim true,
forgot to do
betrayer.
that.
You've got it on the ground now. Pin it down.
Do not do me. Is what I'm getting at.
Now's your.
Rise, ancient Robololist, my other flesh. Your sacrifice will breed a new way for a new kind.
Now you see, I don't have to trick it into zapping the lantern. The lanterns are pre-zapped, which makes this so much easier and quicker. Quick and done. That's how I like it. Shit, it's a weak point.
These suffer as testaments of Tenno evil, their voice and void. Suffer it.
Yes, make that thing sizzle. I want to smell it all the way down here in the control. Yes, this is it, betrayers.
But yeah,
Rid me of this
and that's how you killed the
and I will be
Robolist.
Grateful.
One tap its health bar with a quick heavy attack, and then just zap it like that. And then just Cloud Walker to extraction. I mean, Ballroom Parkour.
The light leaves this one and rejoins the rest. I will dig no grave. I will plant no stone. Only conceive a plan for our new home.
Don't jump off the edge like a dumb fuck like me. Just cloud over like this. Easy extract.
It is done, Tenno.
5 minutes complete. Probably would have been shorter if I didn't jump off the edge like a dumb fuck. That would have been the intelligent thing to do. Is not jump off the edge like an idiot. So sad they patched that mod, Proton Pulse. Rest in peace. The mod that used to give us like 5 parkour velocity shards without actually running 5 parkour velocity shards. You'll be missed. Okay. What next could I give tips on? Well, I could be like the Armageddon and Zerman. But honestly, for this, I would just suggest bringing a support frame and a frame of a heavy-hitting weapon, and then bring the amp that I showed you. As for Cascade, I would suggest bringing the miter amp that I brought, that I showed you, and then some hard-hitting weapons and some decent fucking gargano. And some other ability. Void Flood, bring a Titania so that way you can just pick up all the fucking orbs. Exterminate. Say exterminate. I don't need to explain exterminate. Alrighty.
Everything in
Where are we
Otis,
now?
Operator? Is
Holy
now
fuck, we're at
on.
40 minutes. Okay, time to squeeze in 2 fucking things. I don't want to do Marrow's Fight, so I'm just going to explain how Marrow's Fight works. Stand on the platform, use an Ignis Rave, hit the target for the wall. Congratulations, you won. You are now in the next stage of the fight. Do the same thing up at her actual fight, and then when she goes to do the missiles, you can either bring a Limbo or bring something else or protect yourself from the missiles, whatever, right? Just bring an Ignis so you can hit the target for the wall, or bring the muscle on. Okay, great, awesome. I'm just saying that because I do not want to do her fight again. It's fucking annoying. And then let's say that you are on Hades. How do you do Hades? Kill the ambulance, down the ambulance. Its weak points are in the back of its legs and its head. Shoot there, down it, hack it, and then keep the drones away from it and the regular enemies away from it. Do not take Nautilus because it will pull the enemies towards the ambulance, bringing it back up. You want to have at least 4 hacked. I think it's 4 or 3. Can't remember. You just have to hack them. Do not let them come back to life or you will fail. Okay? Perfect. Awesome. As for junctions, what you can use are frames like Excalibur, Radial Blind, Exalted Blade, stab it, insta-kill it. Meg, bubble it, shoot it, it dies, or it shoots itself, it dies. Or take Ash. What the hell did Fox send me? I'll have to take a look at it later. Okay. Tip for the Jackal, if you have access to Ivara, tripwire above, you can just sit above the Jackal and avoid all its attacks. There's Alpha Vice 2, yada yada. Alad V, you have to kill Alad V and his dog at the same time if you want him to die instantly. Infested Alad V, wait for him to throw his little disc thing and then shoot him. Vor, he's just Vor. Shoot him, kill his enemies, destroy the drone, shoot him again. Simple as that. Sargus Rock. Shoot him in the weak points. Counselor Vahek. You can ignore him most of the fight, so just run past him until you get to the last stage. And when you're at the last stage, shoot him in the face. Or use Meg's bubble, so that way you can force all bullets to go to his face, or force him to attack his own face. And after that, easy as shit. And then Mars one is just wait for Electric to freeze himself. Rush, I would suggest bringing Amisha and Hyperion Thrusters, which is a mod which increases movement speed. And Larkspur. How much time do I have left? Already thing. Jordas Golem, I'll bring an actual build for her. I'll show you how to do that one. Europa, you can do easily. Talrager, he's pretty easy to kill. Lua Rescue I might help you with, and Kuva Ford I might help you with. That seems about it. Oh yeah, bring Oberon or Wisp or Volt for defection. That's what I suggest. That would be a huge boost. Messa's great for the ambulance because you can auto-aim all the enemies from far away. Bring the auto-hack subs in because it's really good for ambulance, especially if you're doing sorting ambulance or ambulance in general. I don't really have much else to do. They explain other than I would argue Kuva Spy. And yeah, Kuva Spy and Jordas Golem. I have enough time to squeeze in Jordas Golem. I have more than enough time to squeeze in Jordas Golem and a Kuva Spy, so I might as well just like get that out of the way. So we'll go to Jordas Golem. I use Odana because the first ability is basically Volt Shield, except instead of giving electric, it gives you crit damage. And I used them also on because the alt fire is capable of one-tapping Jordas. You will instant kill Jordas very easily. And then my Sentinel is just the Eidolon build that I use, and then just this. It's just there for utility. It's not there to actually do any damage, my Sentinel. Cool. Rhino, it's the same one. It's just the Jordis Rhino. It's just more power strength than my regular Rhino. Burstin, it's the Lephantis Burstis again. Angstrom, it's just my regular use Angstrom. And the reason why I bring the Colossus is because the Colossus can kill the Jordis Juggernaut very, very quickly. Okay, great. Awesome, let's get it done. And then I'll go do Kuva Spy, and then I'll pick another game mode which gives people trouble. You don't actually need to throw the Paralect Pod down to spawn Jordis, you just need to walk into the ring. Cool. Let's get it done. I think I covered enough of like the basics for star chart clearing and all that. Excavation, which I know people have trouble with too. Bring a crowd control frame, but also is good at support and killing, because you want to defend the excavator. It's not really a pure kill game mode, it's more of a defending game mode. So you want killing and defending and support.
Have you been using them?
That's like the tip I can honestly give you for excavation.
That is not
But
enough for
so many
you.
people are like,
You are just like all the
trouble
others. You won't kill the golem. I don't want
so
you
that's the
to.
thing, yeah. Another tip I can give you for the Jordis Golem is if you're bringing a frame that buffs your weapons, like
I see
Rhino
what you're
or
doing.
Roar
You
in
came for the
general, or
parts,
Mirage
just like
with
the
her
others,
Eclipse
greedy
and all that,
scavengers. You do
or
not
Hollow Mirrors,
care about Jordis.
you might want to cast them like right before he says the golem is coming in the position line. That way you can have your buffs active
Feel that?
when
The
you're
golem.
fuck.
He's coming.
Yeah.
Into position.
So right after you kill the Juggernaut.
The golem is here. I am.
So like right after you kill the Juggernaut, around here is when you want to have your like Rhino buff, your Mirage, Eclipse, your Hollow Mirrors, Norge, all those buffs active because they will carry over into the Arcwing phase.
Please, they did.
So if you want to make the Arcwing part easier, bring something that can buff your weapons and cast it like right before the Arcwing part, because it'll carry over to the Arcwing part and as a huge boost.
Operator, how...
I wish you could skip the cinematic a lot quicker, but you sadly can't. You just gotta work with it. Now, your idea here is to just charge up the Mulsalon's Alt-Fire. And then just Alt-Fire. That's it. So just shoot that. And you see how I have the shield up? Done. There you go, Jordis is dead. And then you just gotta wait for extraction to realize that Jordis is dead. Like that. Jordis is complete in literally 2 minutes. Easy peasy. And now Stalker's gonna hunt me down because he's mad that I killed Jordis.
I have not read them.
Which, to that I say, go fuck yourself, Stalker. Again, just bring Master Summons, you know, and the auto hack Moa for Spy. If you're curious about my Ibarra, here you go. If you're curious about my Spy Ibarra, here you go. Reason why she's modded like this, I just prefer tankier frames. I main Hilden Rhino, so tanks are my thing. If you don't like tanks, fine, don't mod it that way. And I'm probably wondering, why are you running Galvanized Aptitude and double tap on Watcher, Julian? That is because they're both multiplicative. That is why. They stack multiplicatively. And here's the Evos, if you're curious. Okay, let's get into Kuva Spy
I've been thinking,
and get
operator.
that done and over with, and then go do Rescue. Specifically Kuva Rescue, which I know people hate, and Lua Rescue, which I know people hate. Because I know those are really annoying. And then if I have time, I'll squeeze in Uranus Spy. If I don't have time, oh well. If I do, perfect.
Your weapons make music.
I'll
and
try
the
and,
enemy
like, squeeze it
calls
in.
for a song.
Come on.
We'll have to see. The one thing that annoys people the most about the Kuva Fort is how big the map is. Which, what I suggest for doing the Kuva Fort map is have the map cover your entire screen like so. So that way you can see the entire
You're
map.
nearing the
That is
console.
my suggestion
Trigger the
if you're doing
alarms
Kuva
now,
Spy.
and they will start destroying the data. Stay focused. There's a heavy unit approaching. Tenno, be on the lookout for increased security measures. The enemy would rather destroy their data than let it get into our hands. Data extracted.
Sometimes the
They
MOA
won't
doesn't
even know
hack
it's
this
gone.
panel, so it's best to just manually hack it yourself. It's much more ideal to manually hack this one, because the MOA sometimes just decides he's not gonna fucking hack it.
For the tenor.
So let's get it out of the way. And move to the next one. The next wall is like down here, so
The target console is nearby. If you trigger the alarms now, the enemy will start destroying data.
and just like that we can get out of here.
Excellent work. A clean extraction with no alarms.
I accidentally blew up a barrel with the affinity that I got from my parkour velocity mod. But yeah, just walk up to the glass, summon the MOA, and hack the panel. That's it. Done.
I'm detecting a large security force heading your way. It's the Grineer. You're nearing the console. Trigger the alarms now, and they will start destroying the data.
Sometimes the MOA bugs out, so you gotta like recast it, and then the
Data
MOA will
extracted. They won't
unbug.
even know it's gone.
And perfect. See?
We have everything we came
Vault
for.
done.
Get to extraction.
The only annoying part about Kuva Spy, honestly, is the MOA glitching out and getting 2D vaults with the massive map. Actually, doing the vaults isn't really that bad.
And so we learn the importance of clarity.
Hey, done. 3 minutes.
purpose,
Like I said. If I want. And since I did Undetected, you get rare mods like Scorch, which will sell. It's just free plat. Or you can give it to a new Tenno that's beginning Warframe, and you're like, here, you'll need this later on when you start doing Steel Path. Have this. And they'll be like, oh, thanks. Alrighty. Now, I'm going to go and try and squeeze both spies in. We'll do Lua because Lua's more annoying. Lua Spy is the spy that... Not spy, rescue. I already did Lua Rescue. Yeah. 54 seconds. Well, 54 minutes in. And once it hits
Your
60
weapons
seconds,
make
it's ending.
music,
So
and
we'll
the
try and get
enemy
Lewis by in.
calls for a song.
Actually, we might not be able to. We'll see. Either way, what I'm gonna do now is just like, just in case I can't get in the video, I'll explain Lewis by now. Lewis Rescue. You'll get to the vault and you'll see a bunch of panels. Hack one of them. If you hear the hostage screaming through the portal, that is the one the hostage is in. If you don't hear that, that is not the portal that the hostage is in. Hack another one. Repeat this cycle until you find the one that's in.
The security system is waiting to release our agent to Orokin authorities. Authorities who are long dead.
Yeah, so the annoying thing about Louisville is the massive map and getting lost in the massive map. That's the annoying thing about Louisville. Like, you see, I did this whole fucking circle around when I needed to jump down here. It's another thing that why people hate Lua and Kuba. Let's see if I can squeeze it in. As for Kuba Spy, trick is, you'll see one of the doors open with a warden. Use that time to immediately get in, or you're going to have hell.
Let's go.
There is a vault portal nearby. If security detects you, it will start the process to shut down the portal, severing any link with our agent.
You can go underneath and there's like hidden security there, or what you can do is just like auto hack right here and just instant open the door. It's up to you.
Quick, use those consoles to change the destination
Wrong
of the vault
portal, because you didn't hear a
One of them has
hostage.
to lead to our agent.
Correct portal.
Thank you, Tenno.
So banish him.
Found our agent.
Now you're like,
Sword
why,
into
Julian, did you
extraction.
banish him? That's so that way he doesn't die while we're going to extract. Because if I don't do that, he's going to take a lot of damage from the Orokin security and
Walk out of here.
all the enemies. So that's why you banish the hostage. So that way you can just run the extract like I am doing and not.
You are a blade. You exist
There you go,
to
2 minute
strike.
done.
You strike to
Extracted
win.
complete.
The lesson ends.
Perfect. And 57 minutes on the video. Awesome. Well, there you go. That's how you do a lot of the more annoying nodes on Steel Path. And just how to do the more annoying nodes in general for Warframe. A little tip before I go is in Arkham Media, I highly suggest using Citrine as a Spectre because her DR ability applies to you and your allies in defense objectives. And she does her third ability, and she also does her fourth ability. So, great. If another good Spectre would be Dante because he gives Overguard, making a lot of the modifiers, like the Life Leech ones, not matter, and also makes the Luminous not matter. But yeah, there you go. Thanks for watching, and yeah, if there's any nodes that are giving you trouble but you don't know how to complete, that I didn't mention, tell me and I'll do a video on them.